Dun, 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 dun. It's the Uncle Show. Dun, 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 dun. It's the Uncle Show. Dun, 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 dun. It's the Uncle Show, and here is your host, Wilbur.
His brain ain't right, but it's fun.
And that is the truth. Welcome to the Uncle Show, everybody. My name is Wilbur, and I'll be your uncle for this episode. Thank you. And I know it's been a while since I actually did a show right here on the Uncle Show, but I figured it was about time you got your wonderful taste of your uncle in your ear, not your mouth, because you know it'd be really creepy if the taste of me was in your mouth. Anyway, the other day I was thinking, it's like, man, I got to bring back the Uncle Show. It's been one of those shows that I have been beating off for so many times that it got to the point where I didn't have a strong following. It was always so negative, so much rage build up. And I got to the point, the Uncle Show and myself are not a very angry personnel. And that all the previous shows I did, it was absolutely wrong. And it just felt out of place. So today, when I was doing my duties at my job, I thought to myself, what best describes Wilbur in the Uncle Show? Well, the best part that I figured that describes the Uncle Show is a very simple answer. I took a look back at my music, the TV shows that I've watched, as well as movies that I fell asleep with. And the one thing that I came in common contact with the Uncle Show, myself, was 2000s, like that era. So 2000 to 2009. Why, you may ask? Let me break it down for you. And it's going to be a pretty good explanation, as well as possibly a really good future of the show and where it could go. First up, when I think back of when Wilbur and Hoyman, aka Uncle, we came upon, there was many ways that we could throw a towel in or something like that, as not as a retreat, but as the beginning of a future that could rely on so much. We had so many similar tastes in movies, TV shows, music, video games, hobbies, things to do. It was unbelievable. We loved mountain biking, we loved motocross, we loved rap, we loved movies, video games we loved. There were so many times in our lives that it was such a positivity at the start of 2000s, but closer to the end of the 2000s, it kind of fizzled out. But we are back. We do talk once in a while, but now I have a family. Hoyman has a family. So we can't be together, do the Uncle Show as much as I wanted to. And I even tried getting him to, by asking how much would it take for you to quit your job and come onto the Uncle Show as a full-time job. Told me the price, and there's no way that I could be able to do that unless one of us wins $1 billion gazillion, and we can go from there. But let's get into the story. There's been a lot of things that have happened in the 2000s that are not always bad, pretty good. Because you have the late 90s that came through, rushed into the 2000s, and there's so many songs that happened in the 2000s that are so close to the 1990s. You actually get confused of when you heard it and when the album comes out, the movie, etc., etc. And some of the best memories that I have had of the 2000s were in that first part of that decade. The last part, anyway. All right, like for example, Hoyman and I, some of the movies that we loved was Next Friday. Great flick with Ice Cube and Mike Epps. As well as How High with Redman and Method Man. And the reason why I brought Redman and Method Man in their movie together with How High is the personality that Meth and Redman have together. That's kind of the personality that Hoyman and I have personally. He's one of the guys, I'm the other. One's smart, one's dumb. And of course, I think I'm the dumb one out of the bunch. Jesus. Yeah. So it's just anything that comes together, it falls back on Redman, Method Man, early 2000s. Even when it comes to music, you had the new metal, like Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Jet Set Satellite, Korn. Metallica still ran off into the 2000s. Even rap, like with Snoop, Onyx, Redman, Method Man. Crap. Giza? GZA. So, heck, even Eazy-E. Like, there's just so much that runs together. Can't forget Eminem. Can't forget Exhibit. Can't forget Ludacris. But that's the kind of connection that we had. And with the 2000s, let me tell you, we had so much fun. Even when it came down to the video games and what we did, it was unbelievable. It was kind of a time in the period where we were at the peak awesomeness. There's just no doubt about that one. Like, we would play video games so much, we'd listen to music, we'd watch the movies over and over and over and over again. It just, we would even have quotes. Like, for example, from Next Friday, Ice Cube would say, yeah, get your ass up and hurrah, right? I'm not doing it at any justice, but we always mistook it as get up in her rug. So anytime we seen a girl, I'd look at Hoyman and be like, get up in her rug. And that's what he thought too. So it was kind of interesting, just for the simple fact we thought it was one thing and we were not even close to compare to what it actually was. Another part that was quite interesting was Hoyman had this absolute awesome car. It was, what was it, a 1996 Pontiac Grand Am. Very fast, very powerful two-door Grand Am. And it was one of those cars that could be like a massive sleeper. Oh, heck. Hoyman and I, we were so close. We lived in the exact same apartment block. It was so much fun. We kind of went back and forth. We would go mountain biking every night. We did all that stuff. We had almost like a bro connection, but instead of being a bro connection, it was an uncle connection. But the mountain bikes, my God, that had been one of the most funnest times ever. And one of the only times that I was actually fully in shape, where I could do a full-out sprint on a mountain bike in the hardest gear and get past 50 kilometers an hour, aka 30 miles an hour, for any Americans that are listening. It was that damn good you had no... Like, it was just absolutely unbelievable. We got deeper and deeper into mountain biking in the urban center, downtown Weyburn, going downstairs, going upstairs, doing a make your own path. What else? We also did other things like going out into the old mental hospital, mountain biking up there, making paths out there, going up Mount Morris, going up Mount Moore, going down, finding a spot that we nicknamed Mount Gardy, which was unbelievable. Another thing, Hoyman really didn't like me following him, just for the simple fact I didn't have brakes on my ride. I did on the front, not the back, so anything that I did, I was basically free rolling, literally, and at the last second, either I would bail or make my brakes actually work half decent. And the brakes that were on that particular bike that I used, it was good until they kind of messed up. The rest is history. But it was so much fun. We'd go out for hours and hours. I'd get done work. I'd prep everything. Hoyman, he'd be done at 4:30. He would go home, go eat, go shower. We'd get ready. We'd dress up, hop on our bikes, and take off. So we'd probably go out about 5:30, maybe 6, ride until 9. And we'd do that every single night. Then on the weekends when we didn't have our jobs, what did we do? We loaded up his little Geo Tracker or the Bumblebee, threw his quad in it, dirt bike, you name it, did that. Go to 7-Eleven, go grab a Dr. Pepper Slurpee and headed out to the track and spend hours grooming, having fun, and just being us. Up at the top of the hill where we'd always park, or at the bottom where we'd always park, crank the music, listen to Limp Bizkit, Korn, rap, heavy, new metal, everything, just everything in general. It was kind of a paradise for us. There was another time where we actually went, I bought a little Geo Tracker, or not a Geo Tracker, that's what he had, a little Geo Sprint. Man, was that fun. 4-door, 3-banger standard, unbelievable. Went out to the track one day, decided, let's go, let's have fun. Hoyman goes, all right, we got the gate open. Basically what I need you to do is just go plow through the snow, make it to the top of the hill. And I said, well, why can't you? He goes, I got a 4x4. If you get stuck, I'll just pull you out. And all said and done, it was great. I made it, I was pumped, and there was no issue. He was actually pretty shocked on how well... Sorry, I think I just see a butterfly wing sticking out of my light. Or my mirror. So he was shocked, and I was shocked, and we were just going around, just going through hills, valleys, checking everything out, because it was springtime. And it got to the point where it was time to go. So we went down to the one valley, we were bombing through, hitting mud puddles, water puddles, things like that. And he goes, okay, let's go. He crawls out of it, absolutely fine. I try, and I was stuck. Like, I could not grab traction. I'd back up at the back of the pit, and I'd spin. I said, okay, fine, whatever. Shove into the second gear, try going. Got a little bit more speed, just couldn't get up it. So, Hoyman, he goes, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to hook the tow rope at the front of your car. I'm going to start pulling, and as soon as you start feeling yourself start rolling, let out the clutch and try matching my speed. All right. So that's what I did. And we're going fair clip. I was kind of gaining up on him. Didn't want to leave it. He made it up. I'm slowly starting. He got to the top of the hill, and the 4x4 kicked in and just started digging. Hoyman said that his little Geo Tracker was just hopping like massively, and there's me spinning, and like second gear, had a downshift to first, which was kind of was horrible. I lost momentum, but eventually I did get out. Going back to the bottom of the pit, we thought we'd take this one route. All right, whatever. The actual path itself was packed with snow, so I decided to go on the right side. Whatever. Driving, cruising, doing my thing. Noticed that the slush was getting higher and higher and higher, and I looked out my side window and seen the slush coming up past my bottom of the window. It's like, okay, I gotta get out of here. So I started turning my wheel, and I'm fanning the gas, trying to get traction. Nothing. And all of a sudden, I went from like 60 kilometers an hour, whipped back into the snow, and boom, from 60 to 0. I was sore as hell. Hoyman comes and goes, "You're drunk," and he just kind of bombs around, goes around me a few times, like, "Dude, I need help out." He goes, "Okay." So I try opening the door, and I look over. The snowbank was at least to the middle of the door. Try turning the wheel, couldn't. So I got out, start brushing the snow. Found the tow hook thing. Hooked it up to my vehicle, to Hoyman's vehicle, and it's like, okay, hop back in, start her up, try to let out the clutch to, try and get going. Wouldn't budge. The tires were so packed, my engine did not have enough power to turn that engine over. Like, seriously, that's how bad of I was stuck like that. I couldn't turn. So Hoyman yanked me twice, and I finally got enough where I could move my wheels back and forth. Started up. I said, "Let me try something." I revved it up, let the clutch out, tire starts spinning. It's like, yes, okay, this should be good. Hoyman goes, "Okay, let's go." So look up the rear view mirror. He starts counting down. 3, 2, 1. I let out the clutch, gave it gas. Didn't budge whatsoever. It was a big... Thought to myself, that kind of hurt. Whatever. Tried it again. Nothing. He backs up. We went bumper to bumper. He goes, "Hang on. This is gonna hurt." And I thought to myself, oh crap, what are you doing? So next thing, what I did is make sure my seatbelt was nice and tight. I watched him. I heard him. 3 barks, 2 barks, 1 bark, go! I popped the clutch, I hit the gas. He just took off, balls to the wall, boner over your shoulder. My car never moved. He came to a complete stop. He sat there, and it looked like he was dazed just a bit. He backed up, and he goes, "That's it. I'm pissed off." It's like, oh. So I held on both hands on the wheel, had it in reverse, started revving it up, telling him I'm ready. He counted down. 3, 2, 1. I popped the clutch, gave it gas as much as I could in reverse. He popped his clutch in first, 4 low. Gave it one final big hard yank and got me unstuck. And the only downfall about that whole entire thing is, from the first time we pulled to the last time we pulled, there was a time in it where the tow rope broke. So we had it tied to the back of my car. And when I tied it to the back of the car, guess what? It tightened so much we couldn't get it off. So we just threw it in the back of the vehicle. Hoyman goes and says, "Happy birthday. Anytime that you get stuck, just use it." It's like, oh, shut up. Right? Well, yeah, that was absolutely fine. No issues. It was actually quite a fun day. Go home, driving around, and one of our schoolmates lived about a half a block away. And we drove by, seen he was on the front step drinking, so Wyman honks a horn. I honk my horn, and both of us are like, oh my god, we're like clown cars. So we kept driving by Darcy, and Darcy's just shaking his head as Hoyman and I are honking our horns, and it sounds like an old 1920 Ford Model T. Like, it was the clown car horn. It was absolutely hilarious. And really, you can't write this upon anything like it. It was beyond absolutely priceless. Okay, it wasn't that sounding, but you do get the point. Sure hope. Then we park the vehicles. Didn't think much of it. It was in front of our parking lot, or our apartment on the street. And both of us were like, all right, let's go. So go in, come out the next day, and holy man, the amount of snow that fell off of our vehicle, whew, let's just say my vehicle gained about 2 inches and Hoyman's about 4. Like, we had that much snow and we didn't notice it, but it was holding our vehicles down just because of all this ice and snow. The vehicle did run better until a few weeks later, and it turned to absolute crap. Well, you know, sometimes it is what it is. Yeah, so Hoyman and I, we had a lot of common things back and forth. It's just us as people, and, you know, having fun as young adults. Both graduated, well, he graduated in 97, I would have graduated in 98 because I failed too many classes. Moved out in 98, Hoyman and I, we did our thing. 2000, Boomer and I, we were hanging out. He kind of disappeared, moved out of Weyburn, so Hoyman and I, we kind of, our clique kind of grew together and went from there. Like, it was a really good time. So what this basic podcast is going to be is we're going to have to talk about Hoyman and myself. We're going to talk about different things that were going on in the 2000s. Because I personally feel that the 2000s is probably going to be forgotten as a decade, maybe 10, maybe 20 years down the road. Why? You still have the 50s, the 60s, they're starting to be along out of date music. Why? The generations are passing away. The demand for it's not going on. So of course you're going to go 50s and 60s to 70s and 80s and possibly 90s. So when it comes to that all said and done, the 2000s are going to probably be teamed up with 80s, 90s, 2000s, or 90s and 2000s. So it won't be for about another 10, 15 years when the genre and stuff like that is actually going to change into something totally different. So why not start now and talk about the 2000s, the changes, the things that were going on when it comes to pulp culture and just things like that. Because the change from the 90s to 2000s, it's beyond huge. Even when it comes to the 2000s, it was one of those decades that it was starting. Okay, you have the 90s that had the big changes. The 2000s actually began changes that has shaped the future that we live in today. For example, texting, 2000s started to get popular with it. Smartphones with the BlackBerry, 2000s. Online gaming, 2000s. You had PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Xbox was ahead of its time with Xbox Live. PlayStation started catching up. By the end, you had PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. the video games even developing from PlayStation 1 at the early 2000s to the end of 2009 with the graphics, the gameplay, the storyline, even the changes from company to company. That was huge as well, because you had other companies purchasing the smaller guys to create a big monopoly. If you go and take a look at the start to the end, there was really less competition on the market. And people, they'll look at me and call me like messed up if I think about it, but I'm not messed up. It's how it actually is. Even when it comes to music alone. Started 2000s. People had CDs. It was slowly starting to get into MP3s. iTunes came out. The iPod came out. MP3 players came out. MP3s took over. And by the end of 2009, more people were buying digital music or stealing digital music than purchasing CDs. You had record stores at the start of the decade that specialized in music for discs, cassettes, records. They're all gone. Now everything's online. Even shopping. Because the internet was still young at the start of 2000. Then anybody who had the internet and who had, like, for example, high-speed internet, they were the rich people who decided, let's make money, let's burn discs. It was absolutely insane. And now, times have changed to the point where it's quite unique and interesting. Well, you guys, it's almost the end of the show. I went a little bit longer than I was kind of expecting. I was kind of expecting like a 15-minute show, but when I start rambling about my past, things like that, I kind of get interested and mind-blowing from just the absolute awesome things that can happen. All right, so... Alright, so if you ever want to get a hold of me, just follow me on Twitter, coffeeman_radio. That's the best and more or less only way, unless you want to follow me on Snapchat, which is The Blitz Rocks. It's with a Z, not an S. But otherwise, I have no other way of communicating with you. If you have any questions or comments, just give me a shout on my morning show at theblitzmorningshow@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you. Anyway, guys, this is Uncle Wilbur. Thank you for tuning into the Uncle Show, and I will see you another day.